The veteran who fought back. A tale of justice in suburbia. The morning air at Crestwood shooting range carried the sharp scent of gun oil and dew-soaked grass, a combination that always steadied my nerves. For 2 years, every Saturday at 7:30 a.m., I'd pulled into the same parking spot in Willow Creek, a quiet suburb where I thought I'd found peace after a lifetime of chaos. My name is James Carter, a retired FBI agent with 20 years of service, and the weight of my old partner's Remington 870 in my hands was the only thing that kept the ghosts of my past at bay. But that morning, 2 strangers in cheap police costumes stormed the range, waving plastic badges and demanding my shotgun, claiming it violated some vague federal law. They had no idea who they were dealing with, or what they'd just started. I'd seen plenty of power plays in my career, but this was different. These weren't real cops. They were puppets for Margaret Hayes, the Willow Creek HOA president, a woman who thought she could bully me with fake authority and a clipboard full of lies. Little did she know, I'd spent decades dismantling organized crime. Her amateur intimidation tactics were about to unravel spectacularly. What followed was a battle that exposed a chilling conspiracy, one that targeted veterans like me and threatened the very community I'd come to call home. The range was my sanctuary. After the Nevada incident in 2008, where my partner, Mark Stevens, died in a botched raid, I retired early with a PTSD diagnosis that still haunted me. Holding Mark's shotgun, engraved with his initials and the year he fell, was my way of keeping him close. Crestwood's owner, Bill Ramsey, a Gulf War vet with a handshake like a vice, understood. "James, right on time," he'd say, setting up targets as I unpacked my gear. He never pried about Nevada, just offered quiet respect and a lane to shoot in peace. That Saturday, I was lining up clay pigeons when Margaret appeared, her designer yoga pants clashing with knockoff sneakers. She clutched a clipboard like it was a badge of office. "Mr. Carter," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "I'm Margaret Hayes, Willow Creek HOA president. We need to discuss your firearms and community safety protocols." Her son, Ethan, trailed behind, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. I noticed her eyes lock onto my gun case, studying the leather like it held state secrets. "Ma'am," I said, keeping my tone even, "this is a private range. HOAs don't have jurisdiction here. I dealt with enough wannabe authorities in my FBI days to spot a bluff." Margaret unfolded a map circled in red marker, claiming my shooting violated some made-up community rule. The map was a joke, outdated zoning, no official seals, just a scare tactic. But her mention of my background sent a chill through me. How much did she know? By Tuesday, things escalated. A black SUV with neighborhood safety unit decals rolled into the range lot, looking more like a pest control van than anything official. Margaret stepped out, now in a blazer with a stitched logo, Ethan carrying a binder stuffed with graphs and Wikipedia printouts. "This is a safety audit," she declared, snapping her fingers for Ethan to hand her the binder. I flipped through it. Useless stats, no legal weight. "This isn't an audit," I said. "It's a scrapbook." Her smile faltered, but she leaned in, whispering about records from Nevada. My hands shook slightly, the PTSD creeping in, but I held firm. "Impersonating law enforcement is a federal crime, ma'am." She didn't stop. Wednesday morning, my front door was plastered with fake citations: grass too tall, mailbox non-compliant, $75 fines from a community safety board that didn't exist. Neighbors, coerced by Margaret, patrolled my street, snapping photos and scribbling notes. Mrs. Larson, my elderly neighbor, apologized as she passed, muttering that Margaret had called me unstable. Ethan, meanwhile, looked miserable, especially when Margaret sent him to photograph my backyard memorial, a small garden with Mark's Purple Heart and photos. "This is insane, Mom," he snapped, loud enough for me to hear through my kitchen window. "You're stalking him." Margaret's response was cold. "Veterans with PTSD are dangerous, Ethan. Like your father was." That hit me hard. Ethan's father, an Army Special Forces vet, had died 2 years ago from cancer linked to burn pits. I saw the pain in Ethan's eyes, a kid caught between loyalty and his mother's madness. Later that day, Margaret crossed a line I couldn't ignore. I caught her and 2 neighbors in my garden, handling Mark's Purple Heart like it was evidence in a crime. "You're trespassing," I said, barely containing my rage. Margaret smirked, calling my memorial a shrine to violence. Ethan, filming nearby, finally broke. "Mom, stop. This is wrong." That night, I called my old FBI supervisor, Agent Laura Bennett. "I think she's targeting veterans," I told her, detailing Margaret's tactics. Laura's voice was grim. "James, we've seen this pattern in other communities. Document everything." Then came the envelope on my door. Photos of Mark's grave with a note. "Even the dead aren't safe." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just harassment, it was war. Thursday's HOA meeting was Margaret's big stage. The community center buzzed with neighbors, primed by her fear-mongering. Her slideshow, Community Safety Crisis, featured an aerial photo of my house labeled Potential Security Concern. She twisted my FBI service into a threat, my memorial garden into a shrine to death, my range visits into proof of danger. The crowd murmured, some buying her lies. But then Mrs. Larson stood up. "James has been a perfect neighbor," she said. "Are we really attacking a man who's done nothing wrong?" Bill Ramsey arrived, his presence commanding. "I've known James for 2 years," he said. "He's no threat. The real danger is a woman using HOA funds to stalk a veteran." The room split. Some still feared me, others questioned Margaret. She doubled down, shouting, "Tomorrow, you'll see real federal authority." I knew she was bluffing, but her audacity was staggering. Friday morning, she played her final card. A loud knock woke me. "Federal agents, open up." Outside stood Margaret in a fake FBI windbreaker, Ethan and another neighbor in matching costume gear, waving a warrant to seize my shotgun. I scanned the document. Wrong formatting, fake seals, a barcode from a FedEx label. "This is a forgery," I said, loud enough for the gathering neighbors to hear. "Impersonating federal officers is a felony, Margaret." Her confidence wavered, but she pressed on, demanding Mark's gun. That was it. I brought out the case and told the crowd about Mark, my partner, killed in a 2008 raid, shot saving our team. "This gun is his legacy," I said, my voice breaking. "Not evidence." The crowd fell silent, some in tears. Ethan, crying, begged his mother to stop. Then my phone rang. "Agent Carter, we're 15 minutes out," Laura Bennett said over speaker. "Is the subject attempting to seize memorial property?" The real FBI arrived in a black Suburban, government plates gleaming. Laura's badge was no costume. "Ma'am," she told Margaret, "impersonating an agent is a felony." She dismantled Margaret's props, plastic badge, fake warrant, while Ethan handed over recordings of her harassment, including her misuse of HOA funds for a private investigator. Margaret was arrested, still screaming about protecting the community. Laura pulled me aside. "James, this goes beyond Willow Creek. We're tracking similar veteran harassment in 3 other states." Ethan's evidence revealed Margaret's ties to a network targeting veterans, funded by anti-government extremists. She'd received $5,000 to drive me out, with more promised for each veteran she displaced. 3 months later, Margaret faced sentencing in a packed federal courthouse. Judge Daniel Harper, an Iraq vet, didn't hold back. "Your targeting of veterans is reprehensible," he said. "You exploited their sacrifice for profit." Margaret got 25 years, civil rights violations, conspiracy, fraud. She had to repay stolen HOA funds and cover therapy costs for her victims. Ethan's testimony helped convict 12 others in a nationwide conspiracy targeting over 60 veterans. Willow Creek transformed. Ethan, elected interim HOA president, banned discrimination against veterans and set up a memorial fund. My garden became a community space, a bronze plaque honoring Mark and other local heroes. Mrs. Larson started veteran coffee meetups, and Bill expanded Crestwood Range for PTSD therapy programs. I joined Laura's Veteran Protection Task Force, using my experience to shield others. Our case sparked congressional hearings, leading to laws protecting veterans from housing discrimination. 6 months later, standing in the memorial garden, I watched families gather for a remembrance ceremony. Margaret's cruelty, meant to isolate us, had forged a stronger community. Mark's legacy lived on, not just in his gun, but in every veteran we protected. Justice wasn't just her punishment, it was our healing. What do you think about Margaret's actions and the community's response? Have you ever seen someone abuse power or face injustice head-on? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about standing up to bullies and honoring those who serve. Your perspective matters.